Gentlemen, on this auspicious morning, we find ourselves once again with the actual H11 back on the bench, and there's one thing, hopefully just one thing, I really hope just one thing that we have to do to this thing before transplanting all of the wonderful cards out of our test rig into it, and that is to convert the backplane to oh my, pardon me, and that is to convert the backplane to 22 bits. So here is the backplane. Let me get it out of here where we can do things with it, if I can, if I'm not too dumb. The H11 backplane is a little bit funny in that the cards go in upside down in comparison to the digital backplanes, and I'm pretty sure the bus starts. Yeah, the bus starts up here in the upper right-hand corner and goes around and down. And one of the nice things about this backplane, here in the bottom, it's got this section that's like lower than the rest of them, and that'll provide plenty of room for the Q-bone. So that's kind of nice. Keep it from shorting against stuff like it likes to do. So to convert this to 22 bits, I suspect that we'll just have to run jumper wires the same way that we did with wire wrap on this one, except we're going to have to solder them on here. So that'll be a little bit more of a challenge, but hopefully not too bad. I think this is only wired for 16 bits, so we may have to run more than just those 4 lines. So let's see here. It has the letter and number designations printed on the board here. So this is going to be A, B, 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 I think. Yeah, oh yeah, it's got A, B, C, D down here anyway. But this is an A, B, A, B backplane. I don't know why they've got C, D on there. If it is 16 bits, then BDAL 0 through 15 will have to be connected. So we need to check BDAL 16, which is going to be AC1. So AC1 to AC1. Okay, that one's actually connected everywhere. Alright, let's check DEL 17 just to be sure. That'll be a D1. Yeah, okay. Okay, so this is an 18-bit backplane. But the ones that we're concerned with are DEL 18 through 20. Those are the ones that make it 22 bits, and also the ones that carry special signals on the LSI 11.2. If we put an LSI 11.2 into this thing and then try to run 18-bit cards with it, those lines will screw things up. Like, theoretically, without those lines connected on the CPU card to those CPU internal signals, you ought to be able to put like the 16-bit LSI 11.2 in here along with a 22-bit RAM card, and it'll just use this first 64K because it's an open collector bus, and everything gets pulled high, I guess. Maybe it gets pulled low, I can't remember off the top of my head. But with those extraneous signals on those 4 pins of the LSI 11.2, I figure that'll probably fuck up the memory address decoding when you're using that CPU with a wider RAM card. So I think the way to fix that is to just cut those 4 traces right at the connector on the LSI-11 2 card. And then if you have to ever put them back, you can just solder bridge them, right? Because LSI-11 2s, at least in this day and age, are way more common than H11s, so we don't want to, like, do anything funny to the H11 more than we have to. So I think that's a good solution anyway. If we ever want to put the LSI-11 2 back into it, which I'm not sure why we would, unless the 1173 and all of its associated cards end up producing too much heat, which is a concern. I may have to put more fans in this thing, but I guess we'll see. Anyway, dial 21 is BF1. That's going to be this one, BF1. Okay, so that's not connected now. Yeah, I was looking at the wrong thing. I'm sorry, I'm so stupid. No, there's none of these are connected, so we're gonna have to jump all of those, I guess. Let's try dial 18 just to see. That'll be BC1. I mean, you can tell just to look at it, there aren't any traces connected to any of these. Alright, so we're going to have to do the same dealio that we did on this thing, except with solder instead of wire wrap, which will be a little more of a pain in the ass, but I guess that's fine. Well, that's the biggest mess I've made for a while, but I just had to leave them a little long and floppy or you can't get in there to solder shit, so I hope they don't get caught on something while I'm manipulating the backplane. I guess I could, if I can find a piece of plastic or something, I guess I could cut a piece and put it down underneath of these bolts to cover this up. I've got to clean up all this flux though, and I'm out of brake cleaner, so I'm gonna have to go get some. It's Sunday as I record this, so of course nothing's open, but I think I've got some down at the machine shop. I'll have to check. If I do, it's like 50 years old, but I guess if the can hasn't lost its pressure, well, I guess it'll do the job. Well, I couldn't find any brake cleaner, but I found a little starter fluid, and that seems to have done the job. I'll cut a piece of plastic and bolt over this later. Let's see if this thing works. I'm understandably curious. I think the dimensions on this Cubone card may be a little bit different than they're supposed to be, because it is just so tight. That's all the stuff in the Heathkit backplane, and we can set that aside for now. These ribbon cables with these 24-pin Molex connectors are what are supposed to be used for the serial and parallel ports on this thing, and they fit, they snap into these, oh, heavy bastard, they snap into these square cutouts in the back, and I think that this was for a ribbon cable for the floppy drives, would be my guess. And there's another square, I don't know what that was for, but in any case, you can still get the 15-pin version of these connectors, because apparently they were popular with like arcade machines and stuff, but this 24-pin version, it appears to be like unavailable anywhere. So what I was hoping to do, maybe perhaps, was to make my own cables, because you know, a regular single row like header will go, female header will go on these pins, and then 3D print some kind of thing that'll snap into those square slots that I can then like put like DB9 connector on, you know, for the serial ports. I forgot something, but we can get to the Cubone since everything's upside down, so that's good. I have to disable the line time clock on on the Q bun, because this thing will generate its own. And the bus grants in there how it's supposed to be. Right. So this goes down in here. I think we probably ought to connect this power connector first, huh? That's going to be hard to get to otherwise. Now this thing's got, if you remember like 1,100 million videos ago, there's a great big old pop-sized can capacitor underneath of this power supply, and that appears to be hooked up to the battery backup lines on the backplane on this contraption. But I don't have any of the battery backup stuff enabled on the memory cards or anything, so I don't think that'll make any difference. We tested this power supply before and fixed it, recall, so hopefully it still works and isn't going to overvoltage some shit. Boy, wouldn't that be something. Alright, so AC power. Turn on the line time clock. Okay, so it's got a pretty good fan in it already, apparently. Let me fire up my serial terminal here. Okay, that's got it. We're going to go DC on. Hopefully no smoke will come out. I'm not seeing anything. None of the LEDs on the front panel. Oh, I'll bet some of those plug into the backplane. Why am I so dumb? You can hear that line time clock. Listen to that. Isn't that something? No, I guess those signals go over the go over that big connector. Well, this is not good. It seemed like it was working before. Curses. Did something blow up again? Man. Okay, it's supposedly powering up like it's supposed to, but I don't have any light here. Oh. Now it's going. Oh, maybe the power supply needed time to initialize or something. Let's try this again. Okay, this is better. Line time clock. I've got a duh, I've got the serial port disconnected. Okay, it appears to be working now, but I'm gonna need Ethernet on the Q bun, aren't I? Alright, back down with you. Cut that off right quick. I wonder if I'll shock the shit out of myself trying to get this thing down past this connector. Wouldn't that be a hell of a trick? I'm going to have to get to those. Sometimes when the line time clock is on, it fucks up. What's the deal with that? It wasn't doing this a second ago. Something's janky here, boys. Something's janky. Is something touching here? It shouldn't be. So now I've got nothing on the front panel again. DC should be off, but it's not. That's a little strange. It appears to be starting up fine. This is with the LTC off. But as soon as I turn on the LTC, it loses its shit. The CPU dies. That's very peculiar. That will bear further investigation here in a little while. We're going to run some tests with the Cubone without the LTC running, and if all else fails, we can turn the Cubone's LTC back on. Well, I'm not super thrilled yet. We've got some more problems to solve. And the light, these front panel lights went off again. They were on just a second ago, and now they're off. I've got an ODT console. If I cut the DC switch off on the front panel, nothing powers down. Yeah, something's janky. Let's see if I can log into the Cubone at least. Oop. Wrong tree. Well, aside from this funny business, it seems to be working still. There's something wrong. Yeah, the RAM test will be fine. There's something wrong. There's still something a little wrong with the power supply. This front panel, the LEDs aren't working. When I turn on the line time clock, it's going to crash the whole machine. Power supply makes a funny noise. The line time clock's generated, it's a 60 hertz interrupt generated by the power supply. So, and this whole front panel here plugs into the power supply. None of it goes to the backplane. And then it passes on through that big mullet connector, I guess. So that's a little strange. Yeah, see, they're dead. As soon as I turn on the line time clock, it dies and resets the CPU. And the run halt switch is doing nothing, and the DC power switch is doing nothing. So, alright. We made some progress anyway. The shit's in the new backplane, the 22-bit backplane conversion seems to be working. It's in the H11 finally, but we've got some power supply troubleshooting to do, so that's quite a fan. Perhaps we don't need any additional cooling. So anyway, that's it for now. I'm going to have to read some in the manuals to do some troubleshooting on this. This is a little concerning. Shit's going to get complicated, I think. All right, that's it for now. Thanks for joining me. Have a lovely rest of the weekend.